Imagine this, a scene straight out of a daytime drama. Roberto hits up the local car repair shop. The mechanic, with a smile as wide as the bumper, declares the car fixed and almost like new. Roberto, ever the gentleman, signs off on this automotive resurrection and takes his baby for a spin around the city blocks. But here's the twist, he ditches the car faster than a bad first date. Cut to Roberto's daughter, Alejandra, soaking up the sun at the beach, blissfully unaware. These two are packing up their lives in the scenic Puerto Vallarta to hit the big city vibes of Mexico City. The car ride? Oh, it's colder than a snowman's handshake. Dead silence except when Alejandra pokes about the car's fate. Roberto, the fibber, claims he sold it post-fix. Upon landing in their new city digs, the plot thickens. The air is heavy with all things unsaid, tensions simmer as these two unpack not just their suitcases but a whole baggage of emotions. Next up, Alejandra hits the school scene, stepping into the hallowed halls of her new educational saga. Stay tuned folks, because this story, it's just revving up.
Alejandra was a newbie at school, feeling a tad jittery about where to park herself during classes or how to buddy up during breaks. Just when she thought navigating this new world was tricky enough, the principal chimes in with a rundown of the school's ironclad rules, drop-kicking into the conversation mandatory drug tests for all. Cool as a cucumber, Alejandra queues up and gives her sample.
Lunchtime rolls around, and voila, a group saunters up to the rescue, or so she thought. Meet the squad: Jose, Camila, Javier, Irene, and Manuel. They kick off with some welcoming vibes but soon swerve into a cross-examination. They're all up in her business, grilling her about why she moved, what her dad's up to with his seafood shindig. And despite her sporting attempts to shift gears to her surfing passions, they just snicker and scoff.
Flash forward to post-school antics, and Alejandra gets the green light from her dad, Roberto, to hang at Jose's pad. Boys mashed into the couch jostling over joysticks, while the ladies dive into chit-chats. Then, plot twist, Camila drops the bomb. She's a recreational cannabis connoisseur and fully expects to bomb the upcoming test. Yet, she's chill because apparently, the school's more about rehab vibes than rap.
Some sneaky students have been pulling the old switcheroo with their urine samples. Later, Alejandra chills with her dad, but it's like watching paint dry. They barely connect and just sit through a movie in utter silence. The next morning, chaos unfolds in Roberto's kitchen. His assistant chef can barely boil water without a manual, leaving Roberto to bail early from the disaster zone. But hold the phone, Roberto gets a buzz from Alejandra's school. Shukat, her drug test bombed, heavy on the positive. Cool as a cucumber, Roberto confronts her in the car. Bam! Alejandra confesses to 3 months of smoke sessions. Instead of going full-on lecture mode, he just asks her to quit, talk about an anti-climax. She vows to drop it like it's hot, and they move on. Juggling grief and work sucks, Roberto snaps again, storming off to sulk at home. That evening, Alejandra digs into what's eating him. His vent session about work gives her a lightbulb moment. Why not help out at the restaurant? She steps into the kitchen, tossing out chef tips like a pro, showing off some serious chops she picked up from dad's pasta sagas. So, picture this. Dad and Alejandra hit the mall, but dad's as chatty as a brick wall. You can't tell whether he's thrilled or just there to carry shopping bags. Meanwhile, Roberto's having his own soap opera moment at the insurance office. The agent, playing detective, wonders why no one's heard a peep about his wife Lucia's funeral. Talk about a punch to the gut, she died in a tragic car crash. Roberto, he's more bottled up than a vintage wine, waving off the agent's offer to chat with a shrink for Alejandra. Cut to Alejandra, queen of the social scene at a posh party, where Camila's dishing the dirt on who's dating who. Later, things heat up in a jacuzzi session, booze, pot, and hormones simmering. Alejandra keeps it mostly classy, dodging the joint but sipping some liquid courage. Then, enter Jose, Mr. Smooth, whisking her into a bathroom for a not-so-secret kiss, slyly catching it on camera. Alejandra catches on but goes with the flow until her own reflection gives her a reality check. Back at the ranch, Roberto's playing cool dad, casually probing about her boy-filled weekend, yet holding back on the third degree. What a tangled web, eh? Oh, what a whirlwind at school today. Picture this, Alejandra clicks open a video and, bam, it's her and Jose in the bathroom. Red-faced and all kinds of horrified, she slams her laptop shut. But alas, the cat's out of the bag and the next day at school is just brutal. Everywhere she turns, there are those judgmental stares and, ugh, the teasing. Like, hello, privacy, people. And then, lunchtime, what a scene. There's Camila and Irene, sitting as far away from Alejandra as possible, with Camila tossing blame around like confetti at a parade. Dinner time isn't exactly buzzing at her place either, just Alejandra cooking away in a gloomy silence. Fast forward, and things are heating up, not in a good way. Manuel and Javier playing the tough guys cornering her in the girls' bathroom. Classic, right? Wrong. Alejandra, in a not-so-shining moment, grabs a phone and smash. There goes the evidence, phone. Cue the principal's office drama. Manuel spinning tales of a school project gone wrong, and there's Alejandra, nodding away, trying to keep the peace. As if Manuel hadn't stirred the pot enough, he's now throwing a tantrum for a new phone. Seriously, that evening, Roberto's trying to break through to Alejandra, but she's in her own little world, tuning out the chaos of the day. What a rollercoaster, huh? In the latest twist of high school drama, our girl Alejandra finds herself roller coasting from zero to hero and back. After being roped into a party planned by Camila and Irene, who seem to have a PhD in frenemy tactics, Alejandra ends up playing dress up under their critical eyes. The fashion police, aka her so-called pals, push her into a revealing dress, snapping pics without permission, because, hey, nothing screams friendship like unsolicited photos, right? Cue the disaster music. As Alejandra decides she's had enough and makes a move to exit, stage left, things take a dark turn. Camila, playing the villain, not only slaps Alejandra but also turns stylist with Irene, giving Alejandra an impromptu and unwanted haircut. Yikes. Locked in the bathroom, Alejandra faces her hacked hair and shattered morale in the mirror. Talk about a nightmare scenario. Imagine this, another school day, but not just any day, it's Alejandra's birthday. And yet, there's no cake or balloons in sight. Instead, she's dealing with Manuel and Javier, the resident class jesters, who decide it's a hilarious idea to taunt her. And guess what? They even make off with her ring. But our girl Alejandra isn't having any of it. She proves she's not just a wallflower, snatches her precious ring back, and, wham, gives Manuel a birthday punch to remember. Later, lying on her bed, trying to shake off the day, her phone rings. It's news from sunny port of Vallarta, but wait, there's no sun in this news. Her late mom's car, meant to be sold, found abandoned? And still in dad's name? Talk about a plot twist. Hurt and betrayed, Alejandra confronts her dad at his restaurant, only to have her worst fears confirmed. The next day, Alejandra, attempting damage control, gives Manuel a new phone to replace the one she broke. Tough trade, right? Then off she goes for a solo swim, perhaps to drown her sorrows. Oh, the drama of teenage life, especially when it's supposed to be your special day. Imagine this, it's Alejandra's birthday, and instead of banners and balloons, she gets a special celebration served with a side of sarcasm. Her charming classmate encircle her like sharks around chum, presenting a cake that soon meets her face rather than her fork. Camila, wielding the cruelty crown, ensures the cake is smashed with flair against Alejandra's unsuspecting face. And as if that wasn't enough entertainment, they seal this sweet gesture by dunking her face right into the icing. The soiree ends on a high note, with poor Alejandra hurling. The bullies scatter, leaving her in a mess of frosting and fury. Fuming and defeated, Alejandra plots her escape to Puerto Vallarta. Ticket in hand, she's almost out the door when, twist. She heads back home, where her dad tries, and fails, to mend fences with a birthday dinner. Tension thicker than the cake icing hangs in the air. And just when you think it can't get worse, the class trip happens. Picture this, Alejandra on a bus, dodging Jose's attempts at making amends. Can't blame her, the guy's poster child material for her misery museum. The trip's high point? Alejandra bunking with the mean girls club, who think it's hilarious to barricade her in the bathroom. Locked in, cake stained, and absolutely done with this adventure, that's our birthday girl, folks.
Imagine, Alejandra finding herself trapped for hours in a bathroom while her classmates ransacked her belongings, grabbing whatever tickled their fancy. Cut to the same evening. A wild party unfolds, the air thick with the buzz of reckless abandon. Here's Jose and Camila, not just stealing glances but locking lips for all to see. As the night deepens, the antics escalate shamelessly. Javier crosses a line with Alejandra, then boasts about it to Manuel as if he'd won some twisted prize.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, they haul a drained, emotionally spent Alejandra to a beach bonfire. There, the fun continues with a cringe-worthy twist. They force alcohol upon her, splash it in her face, and, in a grotesque display of cruelty, some of the boys even, wait for it, urinate on her. The humiliation brings her to tears, witnessed by all.
Though disgusted, the girls in the group decided Alejandra needed a cleanup and shoved her into the ocean. Amidst their laughter and frolics, they forget about her. Weak, unable to swim, Alejandra is swept away by the waves. Panic ensues when they realize she's missing. The search begins, but dread settles in as they fear the worst, that she has drowned.
Imagine this, a group of students, freaked out, huddled by a campfire after their friend Alejandra vanished while having coastal fun. But plot twist, Alejandra wasn't a goner. She clawed her way out from Neptune's clutch, alive and kicking, and stranded herself far from her pals. Fast forward to the next day, while her mates are packing up, the teachers realize Alejandra is missing, sparking a full-on CSI episode. They rummage through her room, grill the students, yet only get an "oops, she slipped away by the sea" story. They relay the chilling news to Alejandra's dad, Roberto. Cue the heart-wrenching music as the dad rushes to the scene, haunted by visions of his daughter claimed by the ocean. Poor Roberto, driven by despair, files a missing person report. Meanwhile, our girl Alejandra, in a twist you didn't see coming, slyly hops on a bus to Puerto Vallarta, leaving the drama and her old life in the rearview mirror. Back at the beach, the search for Alejandra turns into a heart-pounding thriller, but little do they know, our leading lady has already queued up for her next adventure. Imagine Alejandra, in a whirlwind of freedom, stealthily slipping through the kitchen window of her once family-filled home. There she finds sanctuary in her old bedroom, lying on her childhood bed, a brief escape from her tumultuous night. In the midst of this, her father Roberto returns, only to find a mysterious CD slipped under his door. He plays it and boom, the truth hits him like a ton of bricks. It's a video of Alejandra and Jose, showcasing the grim reality his daughter faced. The next day, Roberto charges into the school like a man on a mission, showing the video to the principal. Cue the drama as Jose is hauled into the office, admitting he made the video but just for kicks, claiming Alejandra was in on the joke. As more students get dragged into the saga, the blame game erupts, chaos ensues, and everyone's pointing fingers. What a mess, huh? Through the uproar, Roberto's quest to protect his daughter reveals a tangled web of deceit and bullying. Oh, what a night.
Imagine this. Roberto, driven mad with grief, decides to take matters into his own hands. One fine morning, while Jose is being chauffeured to school, Roberto spots him. In a flash, at a red light, Roberto leaps out, yanks Jose from the car, and whisks him away, much to the chauffeur's astonishment. But wait, there's more. Roberto isn't just winging it, he's got a plan. He checks into a remote motel with Jose, now his unwilling guest, ties the poor guy up, and drags him into a room. And just when you think he might cool down, nope, he ramps it up a notch. Out to sea they go, in a prepped boat. As Jose pleads, Roberto, blinded by rage and loss, having lost his wife Lucia and believing his daughter Alejandra died from the shame of bullying, feels he's got nothing left to lose. In a chilling moment, he throws Jose overboard, turning the ocean's calm into a scene of desperation. As the echoes of Jose's cries fade, Roberto, now alone, continues steering his boat into the endless blue.